the control. Now, the Club of Rome, acting on Committee of 300 orders to eliminate General Ul Haq, had no compunction in sacrificing the lives of a number of U.S. servicemen on board the flight, including a U.S. Army Defense Intelligence Group headed by Brigadier General Herbert Wasson. This was the way they did it in the Gulf War. So now its finances are also under the German Marshall Fund. That's the Club of Rome is financed under the German Marshall Fund, who had two highly organized conspiratorial bodies operating under the cover of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is NATO. So this is like a really evil little front. You know, it's talking about how good things are and let's be green, and, you know, putting all of these green programs into effect. Meanwhile, they're in NATO bombing, and they're behind all of this wicked, evil. It just gets just unbearable. I sometimes I just can't even go forward. Where I'm going here right now is the Club of Rome behind the AIDS. They're behind the wars in the Middle East. They're just, and it sounds like almost like a pious thing, doesn't it? The Club of Rome. It doesn't sound evil. It should be like the Club of Death, you know? That's what it should be called. The Club of Death. All right. Now, the Club of Rome formulated all of what NATO claimed as its policies, and through the activities of the Committee of 300 member Lord Carrington was able to split NATO into two factions, a political left-wing power group and its former military alliance. The Club of Rome is still one of the most important foreign policy arms of the Committee of 300, and the others being the Bilderbergers, as we always talk about. It was all put together in 1968 from hardcore members of the original Morgenthau group on the basis of a telephone call made by the late Aurelio Peccei for a new and urgent drive to speed up plans of the one world government. Now, of course, it's a new world order. Now, Peccei's call was answered by the most subversive future planners drawn from the United States, France, Sweden, Britain, Switzerland, and Japan that could be mustered. During the period of 1968 to 1972, the Club of Rome became a cohesive entity of a new scientists, globalists, future planners, and internationalists of every stripe. As one delegate put it, we became Joseph's coat of many colors. Excuse me. Peccei's book, Human Quality, formed the basis of the doctrine adopted by NATO's political wing. Now these guys... Oh, I gotta get a drink. Now these guys are all fervently fighting for the world government, using eco-fascism, I'm sorry, excuse me, using this eco-fascism as a ploy, global warming. Meanwhile, we know what they're doing. They're bombing Libya. They're bombing all over the place, okay? They're bombing Egypt. They're taking over the Middle East. They've been planning this all along, and it's all, you know, through this disastrously evil organization. Now, the committee appears to also have big plans to destroy Africa. So they're heavy on the UN side when they go to try to get depopulation agendas through in Africa with the vaccines and all the stuff that Bill Gates is doing right now. Excuse me. Oh, God. It is not nice to have a upper respiratory infection on Christmas Eve, so please give me a break, ladies and gentlemen, just for a second. But I will get through this. I was almost hoping, let's see, to get to this earlier. All right, so we have with regards to the third world, the Club of Rome's Harlan Cleveland. Now, this guy is really messed up. I mean, he's just a total New Worlder to the max. And he looks sort of like the Crypt Keeper. Frightening individual if you ever get a glance at him. He's like warmed over death. Maybe he's not even with us any longer. I haven't checked up on his bio lately. But he prepared a report on which the height of cynicism. At the time, Cleveland was United States ambassador to NATO. Essentially, the paper said it would be up to the third world nations to decide amongst themselves which populations should be eliminated. Eliminated. This is eugenics. Elimination of population. Okay? War is peace. Ignorance is strength. Freedom is slavery. Okay? This is the mind control. Okay? This is what they're doing to you. This is the alpha state that you're living in from all this information that they spew at you, that you take in and believe. Where if you looked at it and walked away from it for like a day or two and just walked away from television or anything and reflected on things and then looked back at it, you say, wow, my God, look at how many things are not right. It's just unbelievable. It's very easy to do this, ladies and gentlemen. I recommend every show, turn off your televisions for a week. You know, if you don't, just turn it off. Stay away from the media. See if you can do it. If you can do it, it's like almost like an addiction, right? When you return, you'll look at it in a totally different light, and you'll see things differently. You'll see things if you start, spending that time you were doing that, researching the things that we talk about here on We Are Change. Fridays from 1 to 3 and Saturdays from 3 to 5 Eastern Standard Time on informedradio.com. I'm Howard Nema, and we are moving along here, talking about the Club of Rome and trying to get through my upper respiratory infection. Feeling a little better, thank you. So anyway, we are moving along. Now, the Club of Rome was founded by Alexander King as well. He also was important in finding in the foundation of the organization. And the Club of Rome decided on a deliberate change of emphasis in 1986 in tackling the predicament of mankind. Here we go. This is where all the eco-fascism started. Okay? So in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, we had the Mideast turmoil and all the stuff going on there, and Israel, and, all the other criminal activity that was murderous activity that was going on, that's on record with Kissinger, with the Middle East, Korea, Vietnam. We all know what was going on. It was all put together. This is like the amalgam of it all. So in 1986, while maintaining the distinctively global approach, the Club of Rome chose to focus on particular aspects, sometimes even concentrating on a single major one. Possible topics were then defined by Alexander King in his statement, The Club of Rome, Reaffirmation of a Mission. These topics are governability, peace and disarmament, listen to this, population growth, human resources, and assessment of the consequences of advances in science and technology. All right. Let's dissect that. Governability. Okay. What we have right now. Basically it's a technocracy. That's what we're under here. Everybody's like, oh, it's okay if Obama goes to war, or whatever he does, if you're against him, you're a right-wing, Republican, or if you're against the neocons, you're a liberal, all this bullshit division crap that everybody's focused on, and governability, the people. Well, we'll just continue to do it. I'm going to go on vacation, spend $4 million, and send my wife to Paris and my family and spend 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 million dollars on my vacations. And what are you going to do about it? I'm the President of the United States. That's really what it's all about. So, these guys, he's an elitist. Let's face it, he's one of them. He's sold out. He's sold out by the whole, and look at it, you can prove he's sold out because of the way he goes on vacation, what he does, and, it's just not right. It just is beyond loss. And they're all the same. I mean, it's just absolute corruption. It's terrible. And now Obama is so he's on vacation, but he's in conversations with Congress and everything. Yeah, from vacation, he's on another working vacation. Yeah, okay. I like it. It's good to be king. It's good to be king. All right. Speaking of king, Alexander King. Again, he was talking about these things. That's important. That's the governability. So he's got everybody slickly blindfolded. We're governed. Everybody's, basically they're moving in a police state. Nobody's paying attention. FEMA camps being made up. Rights being taken away. Taxes, changing. People unemployed. The whole world going to shit. Okay? Nobody's paying attention. Really, nobody's paying attention to what's happening. What they're setting up here. And it's written down here 50 years ago, 40 years ago. And then in 1986, these things. Disarmament. Peace and disarmament. UN gun control treaty. Take the guns away. Okay? Governability. Control the people. Population growth. Eugenics. Vaccines. Food supply. GMO foods. Sterilizes you after 3 generations. Human resources. Oh, what does that mean? Slaves. An assortment of consequences in the advances of science and technology, which goes back to more enslavement. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible, everybody. Really incredible. I could just literally go through all this work. It's just the paper here is immense. I might as well go through the bulk of it because it is so important. The essential mission of the Club of Rome is to act as an international, non-official catalyst of change. This role is prompted by the slowness and inadequacy of governments and their institutions to respond to urgent problems. So we'll just blow things up to get things moving, all right? That's pretty funny, right? Actually, it's not. None of this shit is funny. It's really, I don't know why I'm in a good mood today, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know. It is Christmas. Oh, God. I don't know. Not myself today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a little off kilter. Anyhow, catalyst of change. That's what they are. Change you can believe in. Obama change. Now, this role is prompted by the slowness and inadequacy of governments and institutions to respond to urgent problems. So they respond in lieu of governments. Yes, that's what basically they're saying. This, in view of the confrontational nature of much of public and international life, oh, really? The stifling influence of expanding bureaucracies and the growing complexity of issues suggests that the voice of independent and concerned people having access to the corridors of power around the world should have a valuable contribution to make towards increasingly understanding and at times jolting the system into action. Quote unquote. This is what they write. And what are we talking about? Collectivism. The group of the collective. Forget about the individual. They preach the individual, but everything else is going on is the opposite. It's amazing. Amazing. Yeah, they've done some wicked shit. Wicked shit. A group of Club of Rome members visited Forrester at MIT and were convinced that they could create some sort of a economic political machine, regarding pushing situations, dynamic agendas such as economic and urban growth.